Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, thank you very much for joining us today. As you know, we are going to record this session and it will be shared in the channels of the European Cluster Alliance and also in the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So if you remain with us, you are aware of this fact and you are accepting it. So again, thank you, Jedrius, for organizing this session with us. And thank you also to the rest of the speakers, Renata Ligien, Jolita Razumien, sorry for the pronunciation, I'm sure that's totally horrible, but Jedrius will correct me quickly, and Christina Nanisiene. So thank you for all of you. Jedrius, I will let you moderate the session if you agree, and also introduce properly this time the speakers.
Good. Thank you, Antonio, for introduction and for this possibility to represent Lithuanian cluster landscape and our policy. Today we have three speakers. Renata Ligeni is representative of our Ministry of Economy and Innovations, and we're happy to see you and to have you in our meeting. Jolita Razumien, you know, she's representative of Agency of Science and Innovations and Technology, MITA, and she's also she represents us in EUCLES Association. And finally, we'll have Christina, our one of the best cluster in Lithuania, one of the best cluster manager, and she will represent our LITEC cluster, which represents lasers sector. Okay, Renata, I think we should start, and floor is yours. Please.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to share my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe Nina, could you help us?
Renata, I gave you the presentation right, so there should be, you should have the possibility to share your screen. It's a button in the menu tab between camera and leave the session, or you have a window that opens which lets you select the screen to share.
I think I see it on my screen, like shared one, but soon.
I don't know if we have the presentation. Did you send us your presentation,
Yes.
Renata? Perhaps Nina, could you share it from your computer?
Yeah, Nina.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Yeah, Nina, I already sent you presentation right now.
Oh, okay, then it might.
No problem. This is not so rare, and it can be solved.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have it. I will share.
Yeah, first presentation with 2021 on the name is. Yes, good.
There you go.
Yeah, so my name is Renata Ligene. I am head of Business and Science Cooperation Division of the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, currently deputizing the head of Innovation Policy and Industry Department. And I will give you a very brief overview about the clusters in Lithuania and what impact do they have on the economy and the growth of innovations. The next slide, please. Here is a brief overview. I will start by saying that were there clusters in Lithuania already several decades ago, but the real boost of the ecosystem was fueled, of course, by the EU funds investments. On the ClusterLT platform, we have 57 clusters registered, and 10 of them are holding a bronze label of excellence. You can see those 10 on the right side of the slide. Our clusters are still young, if I may put it that way, therefore relatively small. An average size of a cluster is something like 13 members. But of course, we have also clusters who have 30 or even more members. And 1/3, roughly, of our clusters are cross-sectoral. Most clusters operate in three fields. That's ICT, manufacturing, engineering, and you will see it in the next slide. Next slide. Yeah, here is the same overview showing clearly the sectors our clusters operate in and the density. As I said, the ICT clusters, the highest density, about 20 clusters. Then production and engineering, about 17 clusters. And the third place is energy and construction, about 13 clusters. We have also other sectors which are nowadays very perspective, very promising, and I'd like to mention this agro-innovation and food technologies clusters, and also creative industries. For instance, some Lithuanian film cluster. So that's how the ecosystem look like. Next slide, please. Yeah, we had the Lithuanian Clusterization Study performed on the year 2019, and that study revealed several positive effects of the clusterization, one of which is the much higher turnover of the company in a cluster in comparison with a company that do not participate in a cluster. As well, the employees' wages are much higher than Lithuanian average for the same sector. The highest differences in transport, also construction, and the real estate operation sectors. The diagram below shows the average cluster export volumes. And of course, this is a secondary source of data, if I may call it like that, because the data was obtained by using the interviews. So perhaps it's not very precise, but still it gives us clear picture that more than half clusters in exports account for 50 and more, 8 of them indicating exporting more than 3/4 of their output. 4 clusters, which equals to something like 12%, indicated exporting 90% of their products. So exports account for a large share of cluster sales. Next slide, please. R&D in Lithuanian clusters. You can see here the percentage. 34% carried out at least one of R&D activities, and 3% carried out more than 10 activities. And 1/5 of respondents indicated that they do not perform R&D activities at all. Yeah, this is it. Next slide, please. As I said at the beginning, the impact of EU funds was crucial for the development of our clusters ecosystem. During previous EU financial period, we had a project called Promotion and Development of Innovation Networks, InnoLink. The project has started in 2016 and it is still ongoing until the end of the next year. The main aims of the project was to promote clusters growth via internalization and to encourage companies to join clusters. And you can see here some interim results of that project. We think that these are quite good results. We are happy about these. Next slide, please. Here are several instruments designed for clusters, again from the previous EU financial period. I won't be going into detail. The 4 instruments: it's Business Cluster LT, number of projects, budget, and the results achieved, and the activities financed. Then this InnoCluster LT and InnoConnect, which is for basically for networking and promotion of clusters, and digital innovation hubs for ongoing projects. We have financing the investments in the infrastructure. Yeah, here. Next slide, please. Yeah, a few words about this digitalization process. On the right side of the slide, you can see the quotation of Ms. Christina Šermukšnytė-Lešiūnienė. These are very, very true words that, contrary to popular conceptions, clusters and digital innovations hubs do not need to be competitors as they fulfill different functions, but instead they could be perfect collaborators and bridge the gaps, saying that digital innovation hubs, they need networking, which clusters could provide for them. And on the other hand, the clusters, the digital innovation hubs provide like brokerage of knowledge for the clusters. So both sides can benefit from the cooperation. Here below, you can see some examples of our well-known digital innovation hubs. Next slide, please. A little bit to elaborate on what I said. Yeah, one clear role of digital innovation hubs is to make available support easier to find for local SMEs and the industry. And on the other hand, as I said, the clusters provide the networking channels needed for digital innovation hubs. Next slide, please. Here is the scheme about what I said, how the digitalization as a tool penetrates the cluster value chains and networks, are bringing together digital innovation hubs and the clusters. Next slide, please. A brief info about the our investment operational program. This is the report of 2019. What positive impacts the ecosystem got from the EU funds investment? First of all, it's improved dissemination of knowledge, then increased turnover of members, export expenses for R&D activities. This increase we measure by 30%, up to 30%. then increased productivity of cluster members, new business partners, integration into global and regional value chains and new product development, and of course, greater access to infrastructure and to tools and equipment needed for clusters. Next slide, please. Here, I took this picture from the clusterization study I mentioned. I like it very much. It looks like this, how it's called, the bee comb or how, or something. You can see very clearly here that everything is interconnected and everything is interlinked. And the benefits of clusters are so huge that, as you see, they hardly fit into one slide of mine. You know, just to show. Okay, and coming to an end, the next slide. To conclude, I should say that this joining the European Cluster Alliance is extremely beneficial for us. What we see as the greatest benefits and what we would like to be further promoted, further utilized, is to promotion and publicity, to present the Lithuanian cluster ecosystem as very attractive for joint projects, for investment, for other mutually beneficial activities. The other aspect is to ensure regular dissemination of information about the cluster activities. Then to strengthen relations between clusters and governmental institutions. We have in the Ministry of Economy and Innovation such like a platform. It's called War Group, but in fact it's platform where clusters and governmental sector can exchange of views, discuss the issues in the sector. The clusters can submit their proposals to be discussed, and so on and so on. So we see it as a useful tool, and we would recommend for other clusters as well to strengthen those relations using the similar platforms. Also, we would like to recommend to continue and promote internationalization activities. And last but not least, the mergers. Merging in the same or related activities in order to increase R&D, increase new product development, sales, and exports. So those 5 points would be our recommendations for you. And I think this is it. And I would like to thank you and to apologize that due to my agenda, I won't be able to participate in the discussion, but I believe that my colleagues from MITA will answer the questions if such would arise. Thank you once again.
If I may, Giedrius,
Yeah.
I want to say thank you also to you, Renata. You're very welcome. And I need to highlight that the Lithuanian cluster are playing a very important role in the European Cluster Alliance through Giedrius, but also through Jolita, that is collaborating in the new EU CLES platform, and you know, the new association that is taking responsibility over the labelization of cluster at European level, and also through many other activities that we are organizing. So congratulations, because you have an excellent representation of your cluster at the European level, and I think that your credibility, if you want, how we see the quality of the Lithuanian clusters is excellent. So thank you. I will also want to encourage you to support even more your clusters. I don't know how could you do it. For sure, I'm sure that the Lithuanian cluster has many ideas and proposals on that field, and whichever way we could have from the European Cluster Alliance to support you, don't hesitate, please, to come with us, okay? So, Jiros, I'm sure that you will open the floor now for the rest, but I wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio, for kind words, and thank you, Renata, for your time. It was pleasure to hear you, and this is big support for our clusters, and thank you very much again. Julita,
Hello.
this floor is yours about
Thank you.
our project, about Link project and our community.
Okay, I will ask you the question. Can you hear me well?
Good.
And you can see my slides as well, yes?
Yes.
Good.
Julita, sorry, just switch the presentation mode.
The same. Okay.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
So my name is Jolita Razumina. I'm from Agency for Science, Innovation and Technology, and today I would like to introduce you our project promotion and development of innovation networking. In short way, it's InnoLink. Some facts about this project: that we started our activity in 2016, and this project will last till November of next year. So the project budget is 2.4 million euros, and we implement this project together with our partners, Lithuanian Innovation Center. And we have 27 participating clusters at this moment in our project. And the main goal of our project is to stimulate integration of SMEs into clusters, to increase the maturity of clusters, and to promote growth and internationalization of our Lithuanian clusters. Now, some main activities which I would like to mention, that our clusters getting some, assistance from MITA and LITS, finding partners in Lithuania and abroad. We would like to give them promotion of R&D activities among SMEs. Cluster development and growth trainings provided by experts. And what we do is, of course, dissemination of information regarding clustering activities in Lithuania. I will say some words later on in our other slides. Of course, we do a lot of events regarding clusterization in Lithuania, and I will tell you more about in the next slides, as I said. Now, in this slide, you can see 1 hour way of area. This is to stimulate integration, as I said, enterprises into clusters and increase maturity of clusters. So to reach this target, we do such things like attracting new members to clusters. Yes, you can see that in this period we I can't see we, yes, I say we in general, not just MITA, but all of us, yes, all cluster community works to reach these numbers. So in our clusters, we already have 147 new members. Our clusters SMEs getting consultations. So it's already 162 consultations made for our clusters SMEs. What we are glad that we have already 376 joint cluster initiatives. That means that our clusters are really active. That is really good for us, that they are already talking together and making some joining initiatives. Renata already mentioned that we had a study. Till now, we had two studies. We do them once per 2 year. So at this moment, we have a third study underway. Of course, I can't mention that it's already 27 new products came up from clusters joined new product. And maybe I will say that it's already 199 news came from us about Lithuanian clusters. In the next slide, you can see another our how to say way of clusters that we promote internationalization of clusters and SMEs to integration into international clusters initiatives. How we reach this target? We already have new international partners, and the number is 240. We planned just 187. So what I would like to say about this number, that our clusters are not maybe big, but they are quite good, quite how to say, trustable, because foreign countries clusters trust our clusters. That's why they became partners. Of course, I can't mention that we have created the project website, where is ClusterLT. I will mention in the next slide more detailed. Of course, as Renata already said, I don't want to repeat the information, but what we reached in this project, that we have 8 bronze labels in our clusters. From 27 clusters, we have 8 bronze labeled clusters. And we, when we are looking for international partners, we are making B2B sessions, B2B events. So till now we have 8 of them, and hopefully we will have more, 8 more till the end of our project. We have international cluster members as well in our clusters, and the number is 19. Then in the next slide, you can see the same information as Renata mentioned, so I will not repeat, but what I would like to say, that we have most active regions. So in Lithuania, so this is the biggest cities, Vilnius, Kaunas, and Klaipėda. And our partners, our clusters partners most around the Lithuania. Yes, it's Latvia, Estonia, Germany, Norway, Finland, Poland, Ukraine, and Germany. So this is our clusters who have already a bronze label, but I will not repeat as I said, but what I would like to say that at this moment we are starting to activity which let us give 5 more bronze labels and 2 silver labels for our Lithuanian clusters. So maybe next event I will represent not 8 but 13th our clusters who have a bronze label and 2 clusters who have silver label. Here you can see the slide. As I said, that we have a website in Lithuania and English languages, and here in this website you can see all Lithuanian clusters. MITA updated annually this database, so you can see the latest information about clusters. Here you can find the cluster map as well, and we MITA and LITS encourage our clusters to create a profile in ACCP platform. And today we have there 28 Lithuanian clusters. What I would like to ask you to save the date for our next Baltic Cluster Forum, which will be on December, 9th of December of this year, and hopefully we will organize it in Vilnius, and you can come. I hope that we will not do this meet forum online. So we started to organize the Baltic Cluster Forum in our when our project started. Till now we have 4 Baltic Cluster Forum already finished, and this forum is annual. So hope see you in this Baltic Cluster Forum, and all information, of course, we will give you, I think, on September. The next slide is the last one, but here I would like to thank our clusters, active clusters, who last year established Lithuanian Cluster Network, which is a member of European Cluster Alliance. Of course, you know that, but this is what we are proud of. And I would like, of course, to mention, Renata already mentioned some facts about MITA activities in this field, that MITA is a member of Association UCLAS. MITA as well had their representative in European expert group on cluster initiated by DG Grow, and we have we work together with Ministry of Economy and Innovation and clusters managers in the cluster working group, and solving their not even Lithuanian but international problems. So this is the last my presentation slide. I would thank you for the attention, and if you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Jolita. Yeah,
If I may, I want
Antonio,
also to
please.
thank you and congratulate Jolita for the work that Mita is doing. Okay, I have the pleasure to be with you in Vilnius 2 years ago, December 19, and it was a wonderful visit. And I really think that you are doing a great job. Also in participating in the board of director of EUCLES. Okay, and that is a very important initiative at the European level. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you. I see a question in chat. Pierre, maybe would you like to ask? Pierre, are you here?
Okay, I'll try. Veronica.
Yeah,
yes, I'm here. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, no, I just in response to the first, but also the second presentation, I was really interested in the approach that you've put forward, and we've come across it at VVA. We are part of the ECCP, of course, but also we work with other parts of the Commission, including DG Connect, and we looked at this big mapping exercise of how different countries have pushed for digitization of industry, and there Lithuania, with your approach, the InnoLink, InnoCluster, was put forward as one of the good practices that in Europe on this topic. And so I wanted to congratulate you, but also you cited some impact figures. What we found very difficult is not just in the ECCP, but also in this DG Connect study, is to really show the impact. While we have a lot of qualitative information, but we didn't have so much quantitative information to show that this is really working and what the wider impact on the economy is. Did you have, in the figures that you cited, how did you come about these figures? Did you do a specific study, evaluation study on this, or how did you know? And also, I understand that one of the issues that we found when we looked at the Lithuanian approach was that of course, there was also political change over the course of this period, and some of the initiatives are continuing, some wasn't not so sure, and so I wondered whether these decisions were based then on these evaluations, or whether this was, what does the future look like for these initiatives in Lithuania?
Okay, thank you. Jolita, if you want, you can answer, and I will ask Christina also to comment this question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we do studies, not just because we want to do a study. Of course, we would like to see the impact of this project. So yes, we do studies, and what else is our active clusters are showing really good results. If our clusters will not show a result of their work, so how we can show for others what they made? Yes, so they are active in international field, yes, in Lithuania field, and that's how we can present that our project was right for clusters to develop them. This is my answer. Maybe Christina could say more.
Yeah, Christina.
Yes, good morning to everyone.
Expert
yes,
in digital solutions.
Yeah. Well, I would not say that I'm a huge expert on evaluation figures, but I'm trying to work on that. So if talking about evaluating the impact, of course, it is probably the hardest work. And since all this digitalization has come forward in a very huge pace only recently, so probably the figures or what are the actual impacts we just started with Mita evaluating for the last year and see how it's working and how it's going to be proceeding. But to tell you right away what are the figures and how we did it, we are also on the research path, I should say, and probably Jolita would agree with me on this case, because I think now everyone is talking in many workshops that I've participated, how to measure actually, for example, the impact of clusters and digs on the digitalization. And to be frank, this is also the question for my PhD, what I'm doing right now. So we're talking about different approaches, but for just answering straight for your question, to tell you the exact impact or exact figures, it's still hard. So we're trying to connect digitalization with clusters and digs and working together, and through the collaboration and through the dig services which are being provided, and probably actual impact we will have to measure like in the upcoming years also. So, and especially with the new player e-digs coming into the sandbox, as I say, into the arena. So it's going to be also interesting how the power is going to be distributed, as I would say, like between what e-digs going to be bringing the actual impact on the digitalization for the sectors, and then clusters and digs which are already working on that. So probably that's a question for all of us, how we're going to be measuring that and how we're going to be looking at that. But yeah, Lithuania, we are trying very hard to work on those questions and make the impact.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, I think we should continue, and thank you, Jolita, again for your presentation. And finally, I would like to invite Christina to represent LITEC cluster, and maybe you will have some proposals, invitations for our clusters to cooperate in different projects, and explain possibilities where you can connect and which sectors you can connect in your projects. Yeah, Christina, please.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Giedrius. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So, hey everyone, I'm Christina, and I'm a cluster manager of Laser and Engineering Technologies cluster, which is shortly named by LITEC. Thank you for this opportunity to present my cluster, and also to be one of the examples of Lithuanian clustering activities. And usually when people think about lasers, they are imagining laser pointers or some kind of laser show machines that you have seen on laser shows. But when I talk about my cluster, when I talk about the companies that I work with, when I talk about the lasers, what I have on my mind is the development of the most powerful laser in the world that is right now being used for the fundamental biomedical and biological research. Also, what I have on my mind is the development of laser technologies for laser micromachining used for material cut, ablation, and all some other sorts of things that you can do with a laser for a material. For example, I think every one of you have the smartphone which has a glass on it, and I'm pretty sure that all those glass were being cut by the laser micromachining units that we are already capable producing it. When I talk about the lasers, I have on my mind the lasers suitable for laser-induced bioimaging technologies for non-invasive cancer search, laser for eye operation, laser for tattoo removal, and all other application fields where lasers are and will be used very often in the future. So what the tech cluster is, you may ask, and during this presentation, I will try to give a short example and overview what it is and what we do. So LITEC is a laser and engineering technologies cluster based in capital of Lithuania, in Vilnius. It was established in 2010, but the cooperation among the members continues for more than 2 decades already. It is a structure based on mutual trust and understanding. It is being coordinated by the Science and Technology Park of Institute of Physics. Now we have 19 members. Most of them are SMEs working in the field of lasers and also related engineering technologies that work together in R&D projects and initiatives. For some, it may seem that number 19 for a cluster is quite small, especially comparing with the European giant clusters. But what it allows us to achieve is the very effective communication among our members. Firstly, almost all members are located in the same city, Vilnius, and secondly, 2/3 of the members are located in the same campus. So it's very easy for us to communicate, to network, to share the information. And as I say, members talk with each other more frequently than even I needed to be into participate in this networking activity. So for me, it's only the benefits I see. Secondly, as a cluster, we have a very strong connection with other networks, with other players. For example, we have good relationship with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with the Ministry of Innovation and Economy, with MITA, with the Lithuanian Innovation Center, that are our some kind of partners, especially when it comes to the national or international networking activities. Also, we are the co-founders of the largest Lithuanian cluster network, and we have very good connections with other associations, with other clusters. We are a part of Laser Association, of Laser Technologies ecosystem in Lithuania, that consists of more than 45 SMEs. We have a very tight connection with them, and we participate with every entity in one or another way. So as you see, as a cluster, even though we are quite small, but we have a very broad and a very strong connection with other industry players, which just makes us very strong. When it comes to cluster and constructing the cluster, it all comes to constructing value chain, added value chain for photonics-based products. Our members, in one or another way, it is directly or indirectly, participate in producing, manufacturing optical components, lasers, laser micromachining units, or providing other services that are needed somewhere within those processes. Here you can see the 19 lucky members that are a part of our cluster. We have the largest Lithuanian scientific center, the Center for Physical Sciences and Technology. We are in very close collaboration with the Department of Laser Technology. We have the companies. We have the companies that create amazing optical coatings and optical components. We have the companies that work with serial production, for example, 3D printing, precise mechanics, electronics, and engineering. We have companies that work with various laser sources manufacturing, the companies that put those lasers into laser micro machining workstations and make that laser in work for users. And also we have a bunch of other companies that is more as a consultants, more as a project providers, and etc. And also we have the science and technology part, which I said is the coordinator of all this cluster. Here you can see the competences that our members have. Those all competences are applied into the fields of scientific research, manufacturing, medicine, space, automotive, and many more other industries. Since photonics is a key enabling technology, it is pretty much applied into almost any field. So these are maybe the top 5, I could say, that we are very active in. As a cluster, we enable laser technologies through creating laser and engineering technology value chains by helping to find the missing links for projects, for initiatives, for ideas, and also by helping to find needed financial means. Also by enhancing the cross-sectorial and international collaboration and bringing laser technologies closer to the industry, since we are very active in Industry 4 and digitalization field. Talking about the digitalization, we as a cluster, we are co-founders of National Digital Innovation Hub called Laser Ltd. And also we are the co-founders and partners in the largest pan-European digital innovation hub called Photon Hub Europe, which got a huge financial support from Horizon Financial Mean. And this partnership aims to help European industrial SMEs to accelerate and to grow by implementing photonics-based solutions into the work, into their products, creating new some business ideas, and etc. So this is really amazing opportunities for SMEs and for other entities to apply to get free expert consultations, to get access to new financial means, for example, cascade funding, to meet new people and to get the latest and the greatest knowledge from the largest photonic research institutions all over Europe. So I hope that with this presentation, I managed to show what the tech is and what the strong parts is, where it is participating, that we are very strong in laser technologies, in manufacturing laser technologies, that we are very active in collaboration and international activities, that we have support from our authorities, and that we are open for any suggestion for new connection and collaboration possibilities. And additional thought, if you or someone in your network are interested in to find the connection with the big science institution organizations like Space Agency, like CERN, ELI, and all other, the partnership where LITEP is participating will start its activities from the beginning of the next year, where we'll help SMEs to go into those entities, big science infrastructures, to find the right people, to connect with them, and maybe it will elaborate new collaboration areas. So if you need any more information, do not hesitate to contact me, or just follow the information with the ECCP portal. And so once again, thank you very much, and keep in touch.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, Antonio.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, I was past week with the cluster AlphaRLH in France. You know, they are specialized on photonics. In fact,
yeah.
And I don't know if you have some kind of relationship with them or not, but for sure, if that is not the case, we can facilitate it, because Hervé is vice president of ECA, is the general manager of AlphaRLH, and you know, there is a very interesting opportunity coming during the next half of this year. That is the proposal for the new joint cluster initiatives, the Euro clusters, and perhaps it will make sense to build a proposal around your technology that I'm pretty sure it's quite important for our future. So thank you, and come with our support. Jirus, please continue.
Yeah, maybe we have questions for us, for Lithuanian clusters, for our policymakers and Christina.
Yes, I have a question to Lolita, if it is possible. I put in the chat. Lolita, one of the aspects that is becoming more and more important for clusters is concerned with open innovation. We speak a lot about open innovation, the relations between the members of the clusters, other stakeholders like universities and things like that. From your experience in your project and in Lithuania experience too, how do you see this question of open innovation?
If open innovation is how to improve connecting cluster members together, I would say that it's to do we do mature sessions in this project. So that means that all cluster members come together, and they are talking about themselves. They are talking about even all of clusters do strategy of a cluster, and most of them already have it. So that's how they connecting. That's how they do together work or create new products. So if it's about open innovation, I don't know, but we usually would like to create a cluster community, you know, and cluster become a cluster when all cluster members are working together. So the events and mature sessions.
Yeah,
do I understand the question right? So maybe Jane, you can.
That's okay.
Yeah, I also would like to add what our clusters are quite small, but our model is quite different comparing with European clusters, where we can see clusters with 100, 200, 300 members. We are very small communities. We know well each other, and a cluster manager is like a friend in this community. We remember our emails, we know mobiles each other, and we are in very good connection with our members, with our policymakers, with a MITA agency, and we work very close. It is, I think, it is a reason why small countries, maybe a reason why we are close and we are small, but it is different comparing with big countries and big clusters. And it helps us to build trust between members and to find connections and cooperation possibilities. Okay, yeah, Antonio?
I don't know if there are any more questions. If not, I will ask, what kind of requests will you have the Lithuanian cluster to your policymakers? Okay, what are you aspiring for? How could you receive better support? What you are doing?
I think the main expectations are to have to work as team with our policymakers, and to be in we are expected our expectations is to be involved in future strategy, future projects, and main expectations is to work together, to discuss, to make decisions together, and to work as one team. And I think step by step we are going on this way. It's the same model, small model as Cluster Alliance work with European Commission and DG Grow. It's the same level to spend time in discussions, to build trust, and to be as one team.
Yeah, it's an important reference because, for example, now we have the opportunity at European level to participate in the definition of the policy, industrial policy. Okay, we are participating in a EU industrial forum, and that is yes, something that we share. Okay, we would like to have more representativeness across the different policy areas inside our respective countries. Okay.
Yes, I think Cluster Alliance is like a big umbrella and big model how to work with policymakers, and we use good practice from European Alliance, Cluster Alliance in our country, and we are like small model, and we working on the same methods in Lithuania. Of course, main challenge is human resources, how to cover all areas, how to find time, and it's very difficult to combine our everyday work with cluster and cluster members and work with policy makers. It's the same challenge as to be coach and player on one time, to be in two places. And as we know, it's very, very challenging role. If you want to play, you need to play. If you want to be a coach, you need to be a coach. Now clusters managers are 2 in 1, and this multitasking is our main challenge. And sometimes we miss some important meetings and participations. But I hope we have very perspective in new clusters like Christina represented this clusters, and we're developing our community.
I will challenge that, Jedrus. I think that speaking with being in a continuous dialogue with our policymakers is part of our role. The problem is that it's a part that is not so easy to be paid from our members. You know, that's the the main problem. But I will not say that it's a different role. It's something that we need to do, but it's not so easy to explain to sometimes. Sometimes for some of them it's very clear. You know, but I totally understand what you say. But it's very common, for example, in, I don't know in your country, but here, okay, we ask for funding for innovative projects, for developing very concrete studies or plans or project or technologies, but nobody support us in our exercise of speaking with the policymakers or defending or publishing our proposals. And I think that's the point, no? The challenge, yes.
Yeah.
That even though it's inside our profile, it's not so recognized or supported, I would say. You cannot include hours in your projects to say, okay, I need to speak with you about how to develop the project or defend it or correct it. Okay, so it's time to close. Thank you very much, Yolita, Christina, Renata, I think, and Jedrus. Congratulations for the work that you are doing in Lithuania. I think that you are a great example of how can it be approached. The cluster community can be approached from your kind of countries, not so big as others, but very, very active. Thank you, congratulations, and I'm looking forward for next activities with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and see you next time. You have a good summer.
See you very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Antonio. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.